Hey everybody, welcome back to The Genuine Life. I am so excited to be here with you. One, because it's been a little while, but I'm coming to you with a gift today. One of my dearest, bestest friends has agreed to come on the show. And you all, I don't even know how to begin to tell you that you're in for a treat today. She is such an amazing friend. I've known her now for over 10 years. She is an ex-corporate girly turned entrepreneur. Esthetician, Anola baby. Did I do that right?
Yes, yes.
And truly just somebody really special. And you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about today. Erica, the owner and esthetician of pHace Skin right here in Atlanta, is joining me today. Erica, welcome to The Genuine Life.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you here. And I don't know. I've had the show now for, it'll be 5 years in
Mhm.
February. And I can count maybe on two hands, maybe how many guests I've had on the show.
Oh,
And so,
wow.
so I'm really, really excited to do this because I wanted to start bringing different lives, right, to the show. It's
Okay.
not just my genuine life, right, that I want everyone to kind of start to tap into. I want them to understand that there are other people out here living genuine lives to their
Yes.
fullest as well. And so really, we have a lot. I have notes for Erica that I want to chat with her about. So I'm going to jump right into it. And I really want you to kind of paint a picture for us. Talk to us about who you are. How did you grow up? We know I just kind of did a quick intro and shared that you are originally from New Orleans,
Yeah.
but kind of talk to us a little bit about how Erica grew up.
Okay. So, as Jennifer said, I am a New Orleans girl. I'm still forever a New Orleans girl. Although I've been in Atlanta now for 26 years, 27 years, but New Orleans has my heart. I grew up, and if most of you guys are probably not familiar with New Orleans, but growing up in New Orleans, you have wards and parishes. So I lived in Orleans Parish in the third ward. And those of you, if you know anything about the third ward, it's not the most elaborate, but I grew up in a really great environment. My family, they're very God fearing people,
And fun.
fun people, loving people. They are a joy to be around. They were big encouragers in my life, big motivators. They really spoke into my life and always believed and taught me that I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I'm a church girl. I'm a church girl, but I have a lot of street sense. So you'll hear me here and there probably make a few little quotes from the Bible or whatever. But I loved my childhood. I didn't know I was poor growing up. To be totally honest with you, because the life that we lived, as I look in retrospect, or when I go back home and I go to the area where I actually grew up as a little bitty girl, like up until I was 5. And I passed the house and I was like, oh my God, we all lived in that house. But I mean, as a child, you don't know that. And my
Yep.
family never, I don't know, they guarded us from not knowing. I thought we were well off. I thought we were wealthy,
Mm-hmm.
but I had a great childhood. And I'm so grateful for my parents and my godparents and my grandmother, who is now in heaven, my aunts, and everybody who just had a big part in me being who I am today. So I guess that's a
Love
good little
that.
synopsis on how I grew up.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned the piece about going back home and like seeing where you used to live,
Yeah.
because I really went through that this time. My parents are here in New Jersey now, and so
Yes.
in Georgia, and so when I went up to Jersey to help them move, clearing the house out, I kept walking around like, how did we
How do
function
yes.
in this I mean, technically it's a 2-bedroom home
Uh-huh.
with 1 bathroom, but we never skipped a beat, right? No one was ever late for work. Everyone
Yeah.
got to where they needed to be. And now here they are in Georgia, and we're trying to figure out which bathroom to go to, and it's just really nice to see them
Yes,
go through that. But I'm
ma'am.
the same way, like kind of looking back, I'm like, how did we make this work? But you just do it,
Yes, you make it work, and then the gratitude that you get, that you have when you come from what seems to be nothing and you start
Mm-hmm.
acquiring things, the gratitude level is just at its highest.
Yeah, it's
Especially for
different.
me. The
Mm-hmm.
gratitude level, I'm just so grateful and thankful for the smallest of things. Like, a lot of people, they're grateful for the big house or the car. Honey, I'm grateful for when I can put my feet on the ground. I'm grateful that every light in this house is on and it's never been turned off. I'm grateful that
Mm-hmm.
I can meet the bills that I have.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful just for breath. When I wake up in the morning, that's one of the first things I say, thank you, Lord, because people are dying so young these days. And people
Yeah.
just, it seems like every time you turn around somebody, that's all you hear
Yep.
or all you see is rest in peace. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
just grateful for the little things, just
I love it.
family, just the little things.
Ooh, what is it? It's only been 3 minutes, y'all. It's so true though. So now, you weren't always an esthetician, right?
No.
So walk us through like the corporate life. And this part might take you a little while to walk through, but I really want you to talk about this because a
Okay.
lot of times, and I know you're not going to mind me sharing this, y'all, Erica is in her 50s. I'll let her tell you her exact age,
I
but
am.
she 54 years old. And the reason why I want to highlight this is because
Let me put on
she
my
didn't,
glasses so I can really see. Let's just get that out of the way.
because I think people have this idea that either you're graduating high school and you become an entrepreneur in your
Mhm.
20s and then you're a millionaire at 30, or maybe it's I'll never become an entrepreneur. I'm 45 years old. If I haven't done it yet, I'm never going to do it. And what I've always loved about your story was, and I talk about this all the time on the show, it's never too late to
Never too
pivot. It's
late.
never too late to change. It's never too late to go after what you really want to do. And I've heard you tell this story before, and I want you to tell it here, please, about being in corporate, but
Mhm.
always having this love for makeup and beauty and skincare. Because as long as I've known you, you've always talked about that.
Yes,
So
I
I
have.
want to leave the floor to you and really walk us through that timeline of corporate baddie into entrepreneurship. And when did you make that call that now was the time?
Okay, so for me, it goes all the way back to New Orleans. I was sleeping one night. I think it had to be, I don't know the exact time, so I don't want to lie, but it had to be maybe two or the wee hours in the morning. We'll just say that.
Mhm.
And what we call the Holy Ghost actually woke me up and told me to write this name down. The name was Let's Face It. So, sometimes you're like, what? Like, get up. I literally got up, got an ink pen, wrote it down. Had no idea where this was going. So at the time, I was kind of like doing hair and all that kind of stuff in my mom's house. I was doing makeup with friends and family. Just whatever I could do in that beauty realm is what I was doing, and I was good at it. Even though I wasn't professionally trained, I was actually good at it.
Good.
So anyway, time goes. I graduate from college, all that good stuff, and worked in the court system for a while, worked at daycare for a while. But I just always had this longing for something beauty. I don't know. I just loved it. I loved clothes. I loved makeup. I loved hair. So it was just always deep down inside that I would do something in that realm. So I really wanted to go to cosmetology school, and my mom was like, no, you're going to go to college, but she was only teaching me what she was taught. They kind of figured going to college was the best way, best career. You could have a longevity in career and all that good stuff. So pushing forward, I left New Orleans and decided to move to Greensboro, North Carolina. My goal for moving to Greensboro was to attend Dudley. Needless to say, I didn't attend Dudley while I was there. I was there for like 7 months and 8 months and moved here, 7 months, moved here to Atlanta in July of 1998. I moved here, no job, no place to live, but I had friends here, loved ones here. Came on because I heard that it was time for me to leave Greensboro and move to move to Atlanta. So in moving to Atlanta, a friend of mine worked at a company called Southern Company. So I worked. She said, "Well, let me just take your resume over. Da 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 da. We'll see what happens." So I got a job in a warehouse in data entry. And I've always been a pretty goal oriented person. So my mindset was all I need to do is get my foot in the door. I just need a job. So I got that job, and the year after working in the warehouse for about a year, the CFO comes over and he says, "Well, Erica, we want you to move over to the corporate office." So I'm like, I really liked where I was. I didn't have to worry about dressing up every day. It was a very, very casual environment. It was all men. So I enjoyed that environment, because sometimes in corporate environments, women can be sort of catty.
Oh
So
yeah.
I really enjoyed that. And I was like, no, I don't think I want to do that. And so he said, what if I give you every other Monday off? I said, huh? He said, yeah. He said, you'll work 10-hour days and you'll have every other Monday off. Immediately, I was like, okay,
Because like, when do
we
you
move
ever
over.
get?
That's such a great incentive. Such a
Yeah, when do
great
you ever
perk.
hear anything like that?
Yeah. So I said, okay, think about it. So he was like, okay, you have this amount of time to think about it. You need to let me know. So basically, in my mind, I'm like, he's probably going to tell me if I don't move over, I'm not going to have a job. So I'm like, girl,
Hmm.
just go over. So moved over to the corporate office and started, I don't even remember the department name, something sales it was. So I
Hmm.
started over there and then gradually just kept moving upward in the job. It was never a lateral move, it was always an upward move. So I went from the sales side to the finance side, um, and basically just kept moving from the junior to a senior to the next level, and then move over to the next department. And finally, I ended up in an area of commissions where we actually paid our sales force, the inside and the outside sales force. So I did that for a number of years. I was with this particular company for 20 years. And when I got to be the commissions analyst senior, something spoke to me and said, they're not going to, this is it. Like, they're not going to really promote you anymore. Okay.
Hmm.
So then you get to a point that they want you to give them like a synopsis of why you should have more than this percentage. Well,
Hmm.
you're meeting your goals, da, 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 so on and so forth. But in my mind, I'm over exceeding what I'm supposed to
Hmm.
do. So every time
Hmm.
I turned around, it was the kind of thing where, well, tell us why you should get 5%, or tell us why you should get 6%.
Hmm.
And in the beginning, I would do it, and then I would get it, and I would do it, and then
And
I
wait,
would get it.
not to cut you off. Are you saying like in a bonus, 5% bonus or
Yeah.
increase,
So
or
your
okay?
your raise, your yearly raise.
Okay.
So your bonus was also kind of measured on if you met expectations or not. I
Got it.
always met expectations because that's just who I am.
Hmm.
So I always made sure that I was doing what I was supposed to do and beyond. So then I got to a
Yes.
point where I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like,
Hmm.
my worth ethic. You
Hmm.
know who I am. I've been here at that time maybe 14 years. I made it past like several layoffs, and I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Hmm.
I'm not writing another word. I'm not. And I just remember
Hmm.
going into that year 18 just being unhappy. The money was fantastic, benefits, all the things that you get in corporate America. But I was miserable. I
Hmm.
hated getting up going to work. I literally hated it. So I was like, Lord, what's happening? Like, what's going on in my life? And in the month of January of 2018, here I go back talking about what I heard from God. Something said, get ready. A major transition is getting ready to happen in your life. Child, I had no idea what it was. I thought it was the man. I thought it was the husband. So I'm kind of getting like, oh, yeah, let me make sure everything is in order. Da, 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 da. So I'm just really like making sure I have all my ducks lined up. financially, just trying to make sure I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
So when the man comes, we can kind of build together and so on and so forth. So February, March, April comes. I'm like,
What's
so
happening?
then I hear it again. Get ready. A major transition is getting ready to happen in your life. So when I went to work, I just started watching. And I said to two of my girlfriends that I'm really good friends with still to this day, I said, yo, do you think a layoff is about to happen? And they were like, girl, no, nothing. No, it's no layoff. Because it was just strange things happening. People started retiring early. They
Mm-hmm.
started making moves, odd moves with positions. And it was just like, I don't know. And I felt like I was the only person to see it because nobody else, when I would ask the question, nobody else felt that way. So I don't know. It just stayed with me. And I remember walking in the door October. I walked in that door October 2018 and people at the water cooler. So everyone's like,
Interesting.
oh my God, Erica, did you see that email? Da, 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 da. And I was like, no, I just walked in the door. Let me go see what's going on. I opened the email. It says basically a reorganization is happening today. I packed up my things because I heard God say, this is the major transition I was talking
I
about. So
want
I
to
packed
stop
up
you.
my
I'm over here taking notes. And I told y'all I've heard this story before, but I really want you to highlight something because I'm hearing some things that I think people can really walk away from if they haven't already. The
Okay.
first is to pay attention and be observant. I
Mm-hmm.
loved hearing what you mentioned about you've heard the message, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times we hear what we're supposed to do, or we hear, I don't want to use the word warning, but we hear something that
Mm-hmm.
we need to be on the lookout for, right?
Yeah.
And, and if it's not right in front of us, sometimes we can miss the outside signs. And so I love hearing you say that you just started to pay attention. If you didn't see it over here, maybe it might be at work that this might
Right.
be
Yeah.
happening. And so I wanted to call that out. And then I also wanted to call out the fact that you told us that you initially heard this message in January, but that it didn't happen until October. And I also wanted to call that part out because I think it's important. To me, I wrote down patience.
Mm-hmm.
Whether the result of what we're waiting on is good or life
Yeah.
changing, we still need to have patience. You never made a move. You didn't do anything rushy at that point.
Yes.
You didn't go out and you didn't go quitting your job, right? Because at that point, you didn't
No.
know if it was the
No.
job. And I just wanted to call that out because I think we're also in a season of a lot of transitions. There are a lot of
Yes.
people going through what you're going through right now, layoffs and being fired, or maybe that same feeling. I wrote this down as well, that longing that you always had, that just kept getting stronger
Yeah.
at some point. And so I just wanted you to kind of highlight those things for people, that if there's someone out there right now that is at a job that maybe they don't like, or maybe they feel something coming, or maybe there is a longing, what was your mindset at that point? Were you preparing for entrepreneurship? Were you like, what were you thinking at that point?
Well, I think I was preparing for entrepreneurship way before God even
Mm,
told me that this was going to happen. Okay, and what I mean by that is 3 years prior to the layoff, God told me to go to aesthetic school. The aesthetic school was literally right around the corner from my job because there was no way for me to get to aesthetic school by 5,
mm-hmm,
and I worked in Sandy Springs.
mm-hmm,
Okay. But the school that I chose was 6 minutes with traffic from my job. So every day, Tuesday through Friday, I had to wear a uniform to school. So
mm-hmm,
I would get dressed in the garage of my job or get dressed in the garage of the school just so people would know what I was doing. Now, why
mm-hmm,
I felt, I don't know if it was a thing where I just felt like I had to hide it or I felt like it was nobody's business what I was doing.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So for 13 months, that's what I did. Tuesday through Friday, right after work, I went to class. I went to school at night and all day on Saturdays. So it's like God was preparing me at that point for 2018, but I had no idea. So my thing is,
Mm,
when you hear whomever you speak to, if it's God, if it's the universe, whoever it is that you find as your higher power, pray about it. You got to be able to hear when you're getting these kind of directions. That's really the best way I could put it. I don't want to just say it falls out of the sky, because you have to be in tune with whomever your higher power is. Mine is God. So as he would speak things to me, even if I didn't understand it, if I had a peace about it in my heart, I moved. If he didn't say don't to move, I didn't move. But like I said, that 13 months prepared me for 2018. And I didn't even know it was preparing me for 2018. Even when 2018 hit, even when October 2018 came, I think it was the 18th or the 17th of October, even when that day came, I remember when I sat down to read the email and I started packing up, and I called my sister and I said, "Hey, today is my last day." She's like, "Girl, what are you talking about? You've been there for 20 years." I said, "Yep." I said, "Remember I told you that the Lord kept saying a major transition was going to happen." I said, "This is it." And I had a report. I was the only one back in my department in that particular job at the time. And I had a report that I needed to get out. And that human side of you that said, "I'm not doing this." I literally battled with getting, and I knew nobody else could do it. So I knew if I didn't do it, it wasn't going to be done. So my mindset for a moment was, I'm not doing it. Let them figure out how to do it. Let them figure out how to get it done. And once again, something said, you lead the right way. I keyed in the information that I needed to key in, submitted it, and as I did it, my computer literally starts to shut down, because they think you're gonna take everything from them. So my computer starts. I went into the person who was the manager at the time. Was like, "You're gonna have to print the report." She was like, "Huh? I mean, what?" And I'm looking at her like,
"Girl, please."
Like, you know what's happening. I said, "You're gonna have to print the report." And literally, maybe 15 minutes later, the same CFO who came over and brought me to corporate is the same CFO who said, "Are you ready?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm ready." And he was like, "Oh, we're not going to call security. We're not going to, escort you out. You've been with us forever." He said, "Just take your time." And I was like, "I'm ready." I had packed up my box. It was a peace that was over me. God gave me a peace that surpasses all understanding, because somebody else, even my mom, was like, "What are you going to do?"
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
I'm
good.
fine. I am going to
I'm
be fine.
good.
I'm leaving out of here with a severance, a good severance at that. I'm getting paid. It's October. They're going to pay me every 2 weeks until the end of the year so I can still get my bonus. I'm like, "Mom, I'm going to be fine." And the peace that I had, she was like, "Well, why am I so upset if you're so calm and so peaceful?" Because I knew it was a setup for something else. Did I know what the something else was at that time? No. But I knew it was a door that was going to open. I just had to hear and know where the door was for me to walk.
Okay, so we kind of have to go back just a little bit, because
Okay.
when did you make the decision to go to aesthetic school? Because I didn't realize that you had made the decision while still working.
Yes. So I decided to go to aesthetic school in 2015. And what brought me to that point was um I did makeup as well, freelance doing makeup, and I was on a shoot and I was trying to, I guess, make somebody's canvas flawless,
Okay.
and they had skin issues. And when the person has like acneic skin, or a lot of pustules or pimples on the skin, makeup artists can tell you it can be done, but it takes a moment to really make that canvas completely flawless. So at that point is when I realized, I want to go to school to help people heal skin, correct their skin issues, instead of just patching it up, because makeup is a patch. It's a beauty, a gorgeous patch when it's done, but it's still a patch. And my thing is, if the canvas is flawless underneath, the makeup application is not hard, and the makeup is seamless and flawless. So it was at that point is when I realized that that's what I wanted to do.
So were you going more out of just to, because I'm assuming too, it sounds like you didn't even have the thought of entrepreneurship at the time when you decided to go. It was more about just really your passion to help people with their skin?
No, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur
Okay.
from a young
Okay.
girl.
Got it.
It had always been a passion. I didn't have many entrepreneurs in my family, so it wasn't something that I
Mm,
saw regularly. I
okay.
had an aunt that owned a sanitation company, and I think
Okay.
just seeing her, it put that spark. It really put that spark. Like, if this black woman can own a sanitation company, she and her dad, then I can do this. I just didn't
Yeah.
know how to do it, how to get to
Hmm.
that point. But it was always a dream of mine to be an entrepreneur.
Okay. So let's talk about entrepreneurship. Here you are. What are we, 3 years in business?
3 years, 3 years.
Which is crazy. I remember you telling me the day that you actually got your studio. Like, I remember that
Yeah.
like it was yesterday. So talk to us about that transition. What has it been like going from corporate life to now your own business? And then talk to us about, well, we'll save that. Talk to us about the transition.
If I can go back, and I hope I'm not going ahead. If I
Mm-mm.
can go back to when I left corporate just for 1 second, I had an appointment with my esthetician 2 or 3 days after I was laid off.
Mm-hmm.
And laying on her table, I asked her to be my mentor. And she gave me the opportunity of a lifetime
Mm-hmm.
because she gave me my very first job as an esthetician. And I will always be grateful and thankful to her because she taught me what I needed to know. School taught me book knowledge and some other, a few other things, but experience always teaches you what you need to do to execute this job. And I am forever grateful to Jewel for giving me that opportunity. What started off as me just coming in at night for a few hours, within a month and a half, went from me training with her to become full time in January of 2019.
Wow.
So God just
Mm-hmm.
he had, yeah.
That is so.
My life was just orchestrated. I couldn't have written it better had I tried.
But you know what I love about that too is that I think it kind of goes back to what you were saying, that when we do align ourselves to the things that we're to be aligned to, things just happen in a way that
Yeah.
you're not forcing. The right people are placed, the right opportunities are there. And I think for me, I know whenever I don't have to force anything, or if it doesn't feel like strenuous, then I know I'm on the right
Hmm.
path. That's usually like my sign too. So I absolutely love to hear. Another thing I want to call out too for people listening is that you weren't you weren't too good to be taught, right? I
Oh
think it's
no.
always good that we are always open to learning and being taught and being students so that we can get to a place that we want to be. And I love that. So I think sometimes people are, again, going back to just as we get older, I think it's humbling to be new at something and to
Yeah.
have to be trying new things and working a POS system to ring up customers or whatever, just things
Yeah.
you've
And you
never
never
had to do
stop
before.
learning.
Mm-mm.
And the
Mm-hmm.
thing is, you never stop learning, and no one knows everything.
Yep.
If you stop learning, you stop living.
Hmm. That's so
So with
good.
that being said, yeah, you never stop learning. And
It's like
like I
every
said,
day.
I'm grateful. I am grateful, so grateful and thankful that she gave me the opportunity because it changed the trajectory of my whole life. It
Hmm.
in this area of entrepreneurship.
That's so
So,
awesome. So tell us, what is it like for you? I mean,
woo!
what what has the transition been like going from corporate to entrepreneurship?
The transition is amazing, was amazing, is amazing, will be, continue to
Hmm.
be that way. But in entrepreneurship, there are ups and downs that people on social media don't talk about. They give you the glam side. And going into this third year, I've experienced a few downs. Now the first 2 years, but believe it or not, most people kind of don't have those ups in their first, few years or whatever. But I
Hmm.
had some ups, some ups. Everything was going great. Clients were just coming in, coming in, coming in. And then we have 2024. So 2024 comes in and life is changing for everybody. Everybody is having to pivot. It's like groceries are high. Everything is so expensive.
Mhm.
And what I do is kind of considered a luxury.
Mhm.
It's a luxury, but not a luxury. And what I mean by that is if you're trying to do self-care and make sure that you maintain the skin and have skin routines and all of that kind of stuff, it's an important part of that. But it's a luxury because it's not food,
Mhm.
it's not water, it's not
Mhm.
shelter. Those things that we have to survive. So this year I've experienced a little bit of things being a little bit slower, but I
Mhm.
clearly understand why. I am a person, I'm a pretty big saver for the most part. So I've been able to get through the downs. Prayerfully, it'll start moving upward again. And
Mhm.
I've even learned to pivot. So
Mhm.
there are moments in entrepreneurship, just like in life, that you have to pivot.
Mhm.
Sometimes you got to take a different turn. Does that mean that I completely give up my business? No, because I know that that's what I've been called to do. But what I have done, I've gone to work at the schools as a sub on Mondays and Tuesdays when I'm off.
Mhm.
I've door dashed and made good money within 2 days. So you
Mhm.
just learn to pivot. And I pivoted because I didn't want to have to touch my savings. I didn't want to have
Mhm.
to, touch money that I'm trying to eventually have for retirement. Like I say,
Mhm.
I'm 54.
Mhm.
So I'm not getting younger. I'm getting older. If I,
Mhm.
if I live to see 60, 70 or whatever, I don't want to have to work if I want to work, but I don't want to have
Mhm.
to work. So I
Yeah.
I've pivoted just slightly
Mhm.
just to make sure that I keep my finances going to keep the things that I have to keep in order, like
Yeah.
my home, my business, lights, cameras, accents, just like everybody else. I am I'm an esthetician, but I'm just like you. I
Yeah.
have every bill that you have at home. I have it too. So, but I know I expected this to happen. I didn't expect
Mhm.
it to always be up. So you have
Mhm.
to be prepared for the ups and downs and know that it's okay to talk about the ups and downs because it won't always be like this.
That's right. That's right. And I think it's sometimes social media, just kind of going off of what you mentioned, it does set people up for false hope. It's not to say that everyone can't be successful, but I think pulling in the realities of it as well, right? Entrepreneurship is definitely ebbs and flows. It's never going to be
Oh, yes, it is.
this. And I think that that's an important call out. And also, I want to talk a little bit about skincare,
Okay.
because one thing that you've taught me that I never really paid attention to before was, y'all, I would just pick up like a facial cleanser, a moisturizer, whatever from like Walgreens or Walmart, which is fine, right? If that's within your budget. But
Right.
one day I was talking to Erica and she mentioned to me, actually, I'll let you tell it. Why is it better to invest in products that are specifically made for your face care?
Well, everybody does not have the same skin type, number one. So I want to start there first. And I know you said products, but
No,
we have a
no.
tendency to look at TikTok University and we want to do exactly what that person is doing on TikTok. You have no idea what their skin type is, if they're having any skin issues, if they had skin issues prior to them using that particular product, or you don't always know the background story of why somebody is using what they're using. You always want to go with products that work for your skin. Does it all? I prefer skincare companies. And when I say that, I mean companies that formulate products for various skin types. I don't want to call out a name of a over the counter one, but
Mm-hmm.
for me, if your budget says over the counter, at least get with an esthetician so you can find out what you can use over the counter, and maybe you can have one other product that's specifically made for the skin that can work in conjunction with that over the counter, because that's going to give you the best results. Because I understand everybody can't afford an $80 bottle of serum. But if you go to an esthetician or do sometimes if you do something virtually, like I have virtual consultations, like 15 minutes is no charge. I can kind of
Mm-hmm.
look at what's going on with your skin and observe. You know, of course, it's always better if you come in, but if we're on FaceTime, I can see a little bit of what's going on and we can dialogue about it. And I can
Mm-hmm.
give you a few pointers here and there just to, help you along the way until you can come and see. It's just like I said, it's just important to use products specifically made for the skin, not everything else.
Yeah, no, but that's the point. And I think I never realized that, right? Like if I'm using just a generic product, but I have super, super dry skin or super, super oily skin, I'm really not helping the issue. Another thing I want you, that I learned from you too, is it's all about the diet as well. A lot of people really forget that what's inside comes out.
That part.
And so would love for you to kind of talk about that as well. What do you see typically that a lot of people might be surprised to hear about their skin?
Well, as Jennifer just said, great skin begins on the inside. You hear people say true beauty comes from the inside out. It's true. I always tell my clients healthy gut, healthy
Mm-hmm.
skin. So if you are a person who suffers, we're going to say suffers with acne, right? And you're constantly doing dairy, you're constantly doing processed foods, you are just kind of eating poorly. You're not really like doing any vegetables for the most part. Your life is kind of fast foodish. You are making your skin problems worse, because dairy causes inflammation. Acne is inflammation. So if you're constantly doing something like this, and you'll have people say, well, it went away, but then it came right back. Well, it came right back because dairy actually stays in your system for at least 6 weeks. So if you're doing dairy daily or once a week, you never give it the opportunity to rid itself from your system. So the skin is responding to what you're putting on the inside. But if you decide, okay, I really want my skin to clear up, normally that's the first place I'm going to go. I'm going to ask you how often you're eating dairy, if it's milk, if it's whey protein, non-fat milk, casein, because people say, well, it's non-fat. It's still milk. You even have snacks that have milk in it. Chocolate, milk. Dark chocolate, those little pea crisps that people eat. It's like the
Yeah.
little puffs, milk. Those veggie straws, milk. So when a client comes in to visit me and they have something like that going on, I sit and we talk about the food. We talk about what you're eating on a daily basis. When you eat this, how does the skin respond? So I'm kind of getting their wheels going to really pay attention to what they're eating. So, like it's true. Healthy,
You are
healthy.
what you eat, right?
Yeah, it's true, guys. It's true. Your
That's so
body is
interesting.
either gonna respond in sickness and disease, or it's gonna give you skin issues when you eat poorly or eat unhealthy. That's the way
Ugh.
the body responds to what it doesn't want. Your body tells you what it does not want. But you know how
Ugh.
we are. We want what we want, so we don't listen to the body.
Give me the ribs.
Right?
Right.
So, like eating fruits and vegetables, all that kind of stuff, it's a reason why we should do that. They're not just out there to be pretty in color. It's
Oh,
important that we eat fruits and vegetables. It's
it's
important
true.
that we drink water. Our skin is the largest organ on our body. Is our largest organ. So we gotta treat it right.
Yeah. And the sunscreen.
Jennifer, I want you to tell about the sunscreen. I've talked about it so much. Let me hear what you have to say about the sunscreen.
Y'all, I used to be that person. Oh, I don't need sunscreen. I don't need sunscreen. Just burning up my skin. And now it is a part of my you have got to put it on. Like, it doesn't have to be crazy. I've shown it before, actually, on a podcast and a YouTube
Yes.
video, black girl sunscreen. For those of us that have melanated skin, it will not leave a white cast. It is very good. It is protective. I think you suggested up to 30 SPF like on a
Yes.
regular day, right?
Yes. So what sunscreen does? Sunscreen is going to protect you from the UVA and UVB rays of the sun. Okay. For the most part, for us melanated people, I recommend using a mineralized sunscreen. So it's just the way it penetrates into the skin. Um, one blocks the heat, and one converts the heat, one blocks the heat. I love the way mineralized sunscreen does on our skin so much better because it won't leave the white cast. So that's one of the main reasons why I've heard our community does not wear sunscreen, okay? Or we'll wear it just when we go to the beach. The sun shines every day. Well, not
Everywhere.
every day, but the sun, the UVB and UVA rays are there daily, regardless of whether the sun is shining or not. Okay? So if you're just wearing it when you're going to the beach, you're not protecting your skin any other time. Your pigmentation, if you're suffering with any hyperpigmentation, that's going to get worse. You can be at risk for skin cancer because just because we're melanated people, it does not mean that we don't get skin cancer. So you have to wear sunscreen daily. Especially, we like our windows open. So those rays even penetrate through windows because I've had clients ask me, even when I'm inside, yes, if your windows are open, it's not always dark. You have to continuously protect the skin. And for African Americans, the majority of us deal with hyperpigmentation. And sometimes it gets so bad and it's so hard to lift because we're not wearing sunscreen.
And honestly, I mean, no one thinks about it. To your
Right.
point, I know for as long as I grew up, it just never was a topic in our household. We went out
Yeah.
on the beach. If we went on the beach, we were spraying bug spray before we did sunscreen.
Right.
It was like, okay, um, it's
That's
true.
so good. That's so good.
So Erica, you have already given, I mean, gym after gym after gym. I want you to close us out with, I want to say whatever you want, because I know that you're going to leave us with something good, but I want you to talk to the person right now that is either feeling confused,
Mm-hmm.
feeling like their ship has sailed, that maybe the dream that they had can no longer be for them. Maybe someone who is feeling a little down right now and just doesn't have the motivation to get up and do what they need to do. We don't know what you could say that could help them. And so I really want you to talk to that person. Who would Erica need to hear right now if she was in a place where she had just been laid off and didn't have the encouraging family or the wherewithal to be prepared for such a transition? What do you think she would have needed to hear in that moment?
Definitely would have needed to hear that even though you feel like it is too late, it's not because you're still alive. As long as you have breath in your body, as long as you have activity of your limbs, it's never too late. That if you know that it's something that has lived on the inside of you for years, it's a reason why it's there. It's a part of your purpose. It's a part of who you will become. Like you may not be that person right at this very moment, but it's a part of who you will become. Like when God looks at our lives, like when we live and we're going through the ups and downs of life, we see a lot of chaos in our life. But when God sees our lives, because he's seen it from the end to the beginning, he already sees the masterpiece. So what you have to do at this point in time, if you are that person that's searching, prayer is number one. And just know that even though everything seems chaotic at this very moment, that number one, it won't always be like this.
Mm-hmm.
And look in the mirror and tell yourself that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. So that simply means that you are a designer's original and you are God's masterpiece. And if you just hold on to that, even in those moments when you can't see it, Because there were moments I couldn't see. There were moments I couldn't see. There were moments I couldn't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt it. And I knew that it was something else for me to do. If you know that this, if it's something that was spoken to you, like I said years ago, hold on to it. It's never too late. And if it's a part of God's plan for your life, it's going to happen. It may not happen in your timing, but always remember that God's timing is perfect. It's perfect. All I can tell you is to continue to believe in yourself and to know that you can, whatever it is, you can do that. You can do it. It happened for me at 52, 50. How old am I? 50,
4.
51. So I turned, yeah. So it happened for me
Mm-hmm.
at 51. I'm 54 years this year, right now. And no, next month is my 3rd year in business. It's never too late,
Incredible to me.
guys. It's never too late. I've had the dream since I was living in New Orleans, and I've been in Atlanta for 27 years. It didn't come to a year 24 years, but I never gave up on it because I know what I heard. I know what I felt. I know what I heard from God, and I know what I felt. And I trusted him that much, even when I hated my job. I just didn't walk away from it because there were things that I learned on that job that helps me right now today in my own business. So it's like I
Mm-hmm.
had to go through that process. That those were chapters in my book because I had to get here. Had I gotten that 13, 14, 15 years ago, the gratitude that I have and the thankfulness that I have right now, I may not have that.
Mm-hmm.
I may not be able to help people in the way that I help because when people lay on my table, it's not just about the skin. I'm concerned about you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm concerned about the person. I'll reach out to my clients and it has nothing to do with their skin. If they drop in my spirit or if I haven't heard or seen them in a while, I'll just call and say, hey, I'm just calling to check on you. Are you good?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's more than just me touching your face or healing your skin or helping you to reach your optimal skincare goals. I'm concerned about the person. I am passionate about what I do. I love what I do. And when I hear people say, I can feel that you love what you do, that blesses me. That lights up my heart because I am really sincere when you let Jennifer can tell you. I'm in it 1000%.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to, and I probably shouldn't say this online, but I've had to tell people, just come on in and you can pay me later.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do that with everybody now, y'all.
No.
But
No.
sometimes it'll be put on your heart,
Yeah.
because God puts certain people on in your heart or on your heart, and I've had to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, the people that I've said it to, when they got it, they didn't forget that they
Mm-hmm.
owed.
Mm-hmm.
They made sure that they honored what they said they would do. So it's not just about the money, guys. I'm in it because I love it. I'm passionate about what I do, and I know as I continue to move in this career, in this journey, that God is going to continue to expand my territory.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm starting here, but my goal is to own some suites. My goal is to have my own skincare line. And the skincare line is coming soon. But I have more goals. Like I said in the beginning, I'm a very goal oriented person. So I'm gonna keep pressing, and I want you guys to do the same. Write down those things that write your vision. Just write it down. And as time goes along, just keep looking back at it. Just keep looking back at it, and you watch how it manifests for you. But you can't give in, cave in, and quit. You got to keep going. Even when you don't understand, even when you can't see it. Just keep going. And I guarantee you're gonna get to your expected end.
Where I give my money. So good. So y'all, I almost did not want to share her with y'all, but you see why I had to, right? Like, Erica, first, thank you so much for
You're
just taking the
welcome. Thank
time.
you. I am honored.
No, please.
I
This was
Trust me, I
everything.
am honored. I am honored to sit on your platform. I
Oh,
am honored.
well, thank
Believe
you.
you me. I can take off these glasses now because I don't need to see, but I am honored. I promise you I am honored. And this is actually my first podcast.
Okay, that
So
makes
I
me even
am
happier.
definitely, and I hope I was able to help somebody. I hope I wasn't
Oh,
too long-winded in my storytelling.
mm-mm.
But I am honored. I trust me. I'm honored.
Well, thank you. I truly believe, because I've talked to you about this before, and I'm gonna tell y'all
Yes.
why I love Erica so much. She talks about this a little bit in what she shared, but I think it's so important to really audit who you keep around you. You all know I have struggled with being consistent on my podcast, but I love doing it.
Yes.
I love content
And
creating.
she's fantastic at it.
Oh, thank you. And I've talked about it. I talk about, oh my God, I wanted to, it's always on my heart. It's always on my mind. But then I get too tired from work. I get too tired from life. I get too tired from things. And I forgot, I messaged you maybe a month ago and
Yeah.
told Erica, I'm getting my podcast episodes together for September. Yep. Because I messaged you in August.
Yes.
I told her I'm getting my stuff together for September. Let me know when you can record. A whole month went by. And she finally texted me and she goes, hey, I still want to do your podcast. And I said, you know what? This is my sign right here because I want to do it too.
Yeah.
But what's stopping me from doing it? And it was me, right? Because today I did my work. I did what I needed to do. I got up. I made the time for it. And I'm not too tired. I just wasn't prioritizing my time well. And these are the kind of people that you want around you. People who know the things that you're passionate about and the things that you love, but they push you, right?
Yeah.
In a loving way, in an accountable way. She wasn't rude. It was just like, look, you asked me to do this. Do
I
you
really
want to do it
want
or
you to
not?
do it. I
And
really
I'm
want you to
glad.
do it.
Erica, this was such a gift, even for me. Like, I needed to hear this. I know somebody else did as well. Y'all, she also has products. So I'm going to be linking the products that you can purchase. I've shared with you before, the ones that I've used, but I want you to also book this 15-minute consultation with Erica.
And
It's virtual or in
it's
person,
virtual or
right?
in person. Virtual is probably easier for most people. So we can do the
Okay.
virtual one first. And then if you decide, oh, I want to get a little bit more in depth, then you could come into the suite.
Okay. And all of her business information will be linked as well in the description, for you to follow her on her
Yes.
socials and everything. Erica, I cannot thank you enough for coming on, sharing your background, and just being so open and transparent with us. It was truly everything. So thank you.
You are welcome. It was my pleasure. And like I said, I was honored that you asked me to do it and you believed enough in me that I could.
Of course,
So,
y'all. Well, we're back officially. So until next time, I'm looking forward to being right here with you all again on the Genuine Life podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share this with somebody that you know
yes,
is looking to pivot or grow or change. It is never too late. We'll see you next time.
never too late.
Bye.